So this is Dan of Vagabond Awake.
𝗔戗会 from Hobo Venture.
And we're happy to have you here on the channel today. And today we'd like to talk about, is your age gap relationship real?
How real?
And we're not really experts on this topic, but we're going to teach you what we know about it just from experience. So
we're just sharing our experience.
Yeah, so we have like 8 topics we're going to cover here, and I want to make sure we cover them all, so once in a while I'm going to look down at my computer, forgive me. So we want to start just sort of with our story. It's not either one of our first age gap relationships.
Yeah, I've been through, at least, it's not a relationship, I would say. I would say I seen guy, that's all.
Dating?
Not dating as well.
No dating allowed?
No dating allowed. I was sure that before I met Dan, I also in what you guy call a normal relationship, which is I date people who is almost my age or just few years, like 5 years, 6 years older than me, and then that was in my mid-20, you know, or 20 years or something like that. But I feel that the guy in this age is not really stable. They want to play. They still want to explore the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I broke out from my first relationship. I jumped to Tinder.
Right.
Then my friend pushed me for 2 years. I said, okay, finally, I will try, because I seen him finding a lot of love in a Tinder.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'm going to do. So I start to find and seeing some guy which is about like 10 years older than me.
Right.
And between they have like 2-3 years old as well. And yeah, as usual, they are not really settled down yet. They still want to explore the world, you know, it's still very new, the world.
Yeah.
And then I would jump to like 40 years old, 45 years old, you know, that when I was like 26, 27.
Right.
Well, almost the same thing, because they are not really stable yet. The job is not stable yet, so they travel around and they don't know what they want yet, some of them, and we don't have a common goal or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, maybe I try to date someone who's over 50.
Yeah.
And then I jumped to, and then I met someone who's over 50. I met 2 guys over 50, and it's more nicer. We have better conversations. We're able to talk, you know, to share, to talk, and it's nice. But you know, it's not all the men who are over 50 is good guy, because they also is a play guy, also playboy or something, play old boy. and then like, well, you know, and then for me, I started, it's like, no, I think I need to find someone who I can talk for forever. And then I met Dan, and we can talk for forever. Even until right now, we still have a topic that we can talk for hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, you know.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's I found that age is not a matter. It's about how you connect with each other. This is my story.
Right.
Thank you.
So after my divorce, I think I divorced her 41 maybe, and I dated mostly younger. And I dated one woman that was, I think I was 40 and she was 44. We had a lot of fun and stuff, but it just didn't work out long term. But mostly I was dating women that were about 30. So they were 10 years younger than me.
I always joke that the woman that you date cannot over 35 years old.
Yeah, you joke about that a lot. So when she hit 35, she's like, well, you got to dump me now and go find a younger woman.
Hey, we haven't told them about our age difference.
Oh, that's right. So I'm from the US, I'm 62 years old.
And I'm from Malaysia. I'm 37, I'm supposed to be 38 years old, but my boyfriend my partner keeps saying I'm 37 because I haven't passed my birthday yet.
Yeah, her birthday's not till November, so she's 37. But we met when 7 years ago, so you would have been about 30, huh?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, and I would have been 55-ish. Well, we met in, yeah, well, that's close enough.
Yes.
So I guess that same pattern was happening So from the time of my divorce until I left the U.S. in 2007, I dated mostly starting around 30, and some would last a few months, some would last,
and
whatever.
they are very beautiful. I can tell it's very beautiful girl.
Yeah, some would last a little longer. And then when I moved to India, I moved with a girlfriend, and her and I traveled together for about 5 years, and that was probably from maybe 46 to 51. And then I was single for a few years on and off, and then I dated one that was much younger. First time I dated someone that was 26 when I guess I would have been maybe 52 or something like that. So that was the longest age gap until I met Chung in Malaysia in 2016. And so, and we've been dating ever since. It's 2023 now, so we dated for about a year before we started traveling together, and now we've been traveling together for about 6 years. So that's our story.
Yes.
And so we have some familiarity with age gap relationships, and we've seen a lot of them since we moved here. And you see more of them maybe around Asia. You also see them in other parts of the world, but we seem to see more of them in Asia than we do in other parts of the world we go.
That's true. That's true.
And we want to talk about one thing first, is that we're talking about age gap relationships. We're not talking about adults dating children. To us, both of us, that's off guard. I mean, if somebody's not of age, we're not talking about that. We're talking about consenting adults. That with that limitation. So the title of this is your age gap relationship real? And so we want to cover that, and then I also have some other things that I want to talk about that I've noticed. And so we have a list of a few things that we came up with that are kind of hints that maybe it's not authentic. It doesn't necessarily mean it won't eventually become authentic, but if this is happening and it continues to happen, certainly early on in a relationship, then the motivations are probably not really about a relationship. It's more about maybe money or sex or something else. So Chung came up with this one. If the woman's always asking for money.
Yes, because I hear a lot of stories, when I'm meeting friends and they tell me their story. They are Europeans, okay, and they have dating, and example, once your friends just went to Thailand, seeing some girl, the girl bring them to the mall, went to Thailand and spent a bunch of money because the lady bring him to the mall. And also I hear some of the story from my friends. They are dating a girl, and then...
If you would like to learn how I fired my boss and traveled the world for 16 years and how I pay for things, grab a free copy of my ebook.
The girl say, like, once a nice day, that let's go to the mall, just go around to have some AC. And then they go to the mall and they point, oh, my house need this. And then he have to pay the food blender for 2,000-3,000 ringgit, about $600-700.
Oh wow, that's an expensive blender.
Yeah, then I asked my friend, hey, are you free? Let's go to the mall. I think my house needs something.
Oh, it was your friend that bought this girl the blender?
Yeah. Because I met him also in Tinder, but we are more like a happy hour drinking buddy.
Right. You weren't romantic.
You weren't romantic. Sometimes, I meet people in the Tinder is not for to find relationship.
Yeah.
I'm meeting in the Tinder is looking for someone to be chat, to share time.
Hang out with. You never really know if you're interested until you meet anyway. So yeah, it's okay to meet people.
So with him is always just meet for the after work, and not in the work time, because our time is very flexible. So meet for the happy hour. We talk, we make fun. We hear, hey, what's your story today? Have you met any girl recently? It's very fun just talking, and finish drink and go home. Go home.
So did you introduce him to that girl, or did she?
No.
That's just a story.
One of his stories told me. That's so funny.
The other one that Chung came up with is moving in together too soon. Like, it was one of your stories, right? Someone offered you a key right away, like.
Oh, moving too soon. I was saying that it's like if you're dating someone,
Right.
and then she or he, because I have story about she and he also,
Yeah.
say that like want to move in with you too soon.
Yeah.
You have to be be careful. But also it's one of the term that maybe you can try better how you can get along with this person as well.
Sure, you should spend a lot of time together before you get serious in a relationship, but not right away. I mean, to me, there's like a dance of dating and getting to know each other before you move in together.
Yeah, I would see everything is too soon. It's moving together, and I don't feel comfortable if I invite someone to my place also.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think some guy like I met them like 2-3 times, and then they just handing me their house key and a car key as well, and say, I'm going to overseas this weekend. You can come over to my place and I drive their car. I do drive their car and bring my friend to his place and have some fun. I mean, my girlfriend. I mean that we just like drinking and and talking and watching movie. Yeah. But after that, I returned the key. I said no more, because I'm not into the relationship so fast.
It takes time.
I would like to know people longer.
Right.
Coming out, chill, talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think on the shoes on the other foot, if what's more common is a woman who is asking for a key to your apartment right away, before you're comfortable and you're just getting to know them or something. I think that's odd. And it might be that she just, she needs shelter, a place to live. I would be worried about, like, does she have a home to go back to?
Yeah.
When you first meet someone, you don't really know what's up.
But I was very scared. Someone like I met them for 2-3 times, and then they're handing me the house key.
Yeah, it's odd. I think it's odd too.
I think like, okay, first thing I want to know is your house have CCTV, hidden CCTV or not? Maybe you're trying to film some girl or something, That's scary when someone handing me the key. I say, no.
It's odd. It's odd. Yeah, so if someone's giving you the key too soon or they're asking for it, that's kind of odd. Bring you to the shopping mall, same thing, right?
Same thing. And the next thing is always the same story I hear over the time, that my family have problem.
Oh, yeah.
I need money for my family.
Operation. Grandma's sick. Baby's sick. They need baby milk. Some of those stories are true, sadly.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely a red flag. If you have the money and you trust the person, which is trust is kind of an odd word when you just met somebody, right? It takes time.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying don't help people, right? But it's odd that it's happening so soon.
It's happening like in between 3 months to 6 months. I would say it's very soon for that, because that's why you always say that, are you dating this guy? Is that your boyfriend? I would say no, because it's a guy that I didn't see more than 3 months. That is not called dating.
Yeah.
It have to be 3 months to 6 months, and I have preparations that I would see whether he is good enough to be my boyfriend or not. So most of the time I would say I'm seeing this guy, but not dating him. I'm not doing that because I need to see what's, the relationship's going on.
Yeah. So what you're saying, at 6 months you call him a boyfriend?
Yeah, but never have a boyfriend in my life. You are my last one.
So another thing we notice sometimes with these age difference relationship, and this could actually be true in a regular relationship.
Oh yeah.
But we seem to see it more in Southeast Asia than other parts of the world, where both parties are like, they're together at a table, but they're both looking at their phones. And I just wonder if they have nothing to talk about, like they have nothing in common. There's there's no real communication going on, right? Why are you laughing?
Are you feel lucky, or you feel annoying? I always keep talking with you.
Well, sometimes I'm very lucky. Other times I'm annoying when I'm in the middle of reading something on my phone.
we have a deal when we go out to have food, to have a dinner or something. Yeah. There's no food on the hand unless you need to find something that we need to
book a ride, check on
the next place we want to go, how to
that
go.
Kind of stuff. Yeah. yeah, when you're out together, you should enjoy each other's company. I think that's a sign that you can communicate, obviously. If you have nothing in common, you have maybe even have a language barrier, and you're not even trying to communicate, it's probably not an authentic, it's not an authentic normal relationship. I'll talk about, after Chum and I's chat for men, I'll talk about some reasons why I think it happens in some parts of the world more than others, where they're not, by Western standards, they're not considered authentic relationships, but why people get into them and stay in them. I'll have more to say on that for a minute. But yeah, the other thing I've noticed is like some, and you see this in authentic relationships too, eye rolling, where one person's talking in the relationship and the other person's all.
Excuse me, I think I do it quite sometime.
I don't see you eye rolling much, really. But no, I think eye rolling is like a sign of
Like how?
disrespect.
Oh.
Like when someone's talking and they're like, oh God, they're saying that again. Or, oh, you know how like teenagers do when their dad's like telling the dumb joke they've told 100 times before, and the dad's all, and the teenager's all, that kind of stuff. It's like a sign of disrespect, I think. Or just generally not listening. Like if you're in a conversation with someone and they just, in the middle of some story you're telling or something you're talking about, they just interrupt you and change the subject, or say, you know, I think there's a general sort of interest that one has in another that's like an authentic, respectful relationship that is missing, I think, in authentic relationships. And it can also just be that they're angry at each other. I mean, couples fight. There's a lot of reasons stuff like that happens. It can also be in an authentic relationship. But so these are just red flags. They're not conclusory. And I don't think anybody outside your relationship could tell you whether your relationship's real or not.
Yeah,
I think that's something you only know, you and your partner. And both of you may know it separately. Like one of you might feel like you're in an authentic relationship, the other one may not. And so that's maybe what the red flags are, is kind of giving you a hint that, you know, that it's not mutual, maybe. So those are some of the things we've noticed. So.
Yeah, but that's true that I have to be saying again that all the things that we say, it's not, how to say that?
It's not. They're not conclusory. They're just evidence.
There's just
they're just like red flags.
Red flags.
That
But
you
still,
can look at.
Maybe, you know, when you go through the red flag and then you still got a very happy ending, happy relationship, who knows, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just some idea about that one.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the red flags to see whether or not you're in an authentic relationship. I'm sure many of you watching right now thought 10 more of them. If you could put them below, other people watching the video can have some ideas about it. And we've noticed that that all over the world, when people see a age difference relationship, they assume some things, some stereotypes about the woman or the man. And it depends who's older, what they're assuming, whether it's the man or the woman who's older, like what the intentions are of the younger partner, what the intentions are of the older partner. And so you have to deal when you're in an age different relationship. And some look more obvious than others. People are staring more like, what the heck is that woman doing with that guy, that kind of thing. And others are not so obvious. I mean, maybe they're a little closer in age, or that both of them have taken care of themselves well, or they're really enjoying each other. It's not so obvious.
Or some of the women, they have a kind of a feeling like they more prefer the older man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it's different, because it is different, and hard to say. It's like I went to a pedicure manicure this week, and then I was chatting with that lady who do my pedicure manicure, and she have a friend who come over to visit her when she's doing my manicure pedicure. And then we chat a little bit, and that man is American, she told me, and he is retired. And also that I say, oh, how you met this guy? She say, oh, in Tinder. I say, oh, I also met my partner in Tinder. We've been together for 6-7 years already. I say, oh yeah. I say, what about? She was saying that she have a relationship before with a Filipino, and they are almost the same age. I guess, you know, she didn't talk too much, but she said that she is working here, and then the guy is in Manila. They have a long distance relationship for 6 years, and then the guy is cheat on her.
Yeah.
That's so sad. 6
Yeah.
years.
It's hard to maintain a long distance relationship for 6 years. I don't know how people do it. It's
And the guy cheat on her, so now she just want to enjoy the life,
Yeah.
meeting more friends,
Right.
but not jump to the relationship.
yeah, take her
And
time.
Take her time, and she is independent. She earn her money, you know, and everything. So
Right, right.
I really wish her good luck, and she's a very sweet girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's other stories we hear all the time. You'll hear about how, you know, one person beats the other or is rude to them, or, you know, you hear all different kinds of stuff. But whenever we hear those stories, I always think, wait a second, I've heard about all that same stuff in the same age relationships,
True.
or, you know, close in age relationships.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that there's, you know, and I think this applies to how do you know if you're in a real relationship also. All of the things that would make you think your partner's really not authentically interested in you, they all apply to same age relationships as they do to age gap relationships. So
Sure.
It's the same sort of red flags. Like, you know, if your significant other is showing signs that they're really into you, or they're kind of indifferent. You know, it's just, those are kind of what it's about. Are they just kind of hanging around because, you know, they have a meal ticket and can get clothes, and you know, whatever their thing is, or are they, you know, do they really enjoy your company? So I think that's something you have to keep in mind, and whether or not you're in an age difference relationship, because you know, relationships you need to nurture them, and make sure that you're you know, taking care of each other, and that you're both interested. Otherwise, they'll just drift away on you. So,
Sure.
So anyway, so I have a couple more things I'm going to cover here, and while I do that, I'm going to show you video of Chung and I traveling all around the world.
Enjoy.
Okay, I wanted to talk about, people in the West talk about a power indifference, how you shouldn't date someone that's not close in age to you because there's some kind of power difference that keeps one person in control of everything. So I think that there's some merit to that thought, but the problem with it is that people that are, if you will, control freaks, they don't need to have money or age or anything else to be a control freak. We've all met them at all ages. So I think that, and the other thing is there's this assumption that money always is in control of decisions. I think my insight on that, after living both in the East and the West, after now 16 years, is that when youth is abundant, money has more power. Meaning, when there's an oversupply of youth, then you'll see more age difference relationship where you have an older partner with money and a younger partner without, which I'll talk about more in a minute. But when money is abundant, youth has more power, and we see that more often in the West, where you know, second and third marriages where there's a multitude of partners with more money, whether men or women, and then there's younger partners. So there's younger partners that are not as beautiful. So there's more people with money than there is youthful, beautiful young partners. So in that case, the beauty, if you will, has more power than the money, because they have choices of partners. So so either one can be the upper hand of power. You can imagine a beautiful person that you're in love with. If you have money, your decision making is going to be quite influenced by that. Versus you have a younger person who there's beautiful young people all around, and there's one or two, only fewer people with money, where supply and demand just says that if there's more demand for something than there is supply, the value of it goes up. And so that is true both in the East and the West. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is that there's this concept that that in a younger, older relationship, it's always, in the West, they have this idea that it's always the youth that's hurt, maybe. By the way, I'm talking about consenting adults. We already talked about that. I'm talking about it. consenting adults. But you'll see in the East, where there are multiple age gap relationships, you'll see that it's not uncommon for the youth to be taking advantage of the older person with money. So there's no patent on that. But you can also see older people taking advantage of younger people. So that's more about character, I think, than an age gap problem. And then finally, I wanted to talk about, maybe you remember in school, if you covered it, there was a social scientist or psychologist, I believe his name. His name was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so there's basic needs, which are like food, shelter, water, clean air, being warm at night, having a blanket, just very basic things that you have to first handle in life before you can begin to strive for more, for higher levels of needs, which are more psychological needs, which are love and being recognized at work, more ego-based things, psychological things, having lots of friends, having nice clothes, having a nice car, appearing successful. That would be, that's above the basic needs. And if you look at what people are looking for, both men and women, in more advanced cultures, you'll see that they're moving up the Maslow's hierarchy of needs in what they list and what they're looking for a partner. And so it's easy for them to judge others in other cultures maybe that are looking for mere basic things, make sure that their family's fed and make sure that they have a roof over their head and that they feel safe. These sorts of things are all handled by individuals. They're not looking for it in a relationship when you go to. And then the highest level of needs, once people's achieved basic and those psychological or external driven ego needs, like being appreciated by society or whatever. Above that is self-actualization, where you have an internal drive to move towards some needs, whether it's understanding the meaning of life, or looking at a culture as a whole and trying to make it a better place, or when you have a drive that's not for ego, but it's more of an internal drive, something that you're doing for yourself, playing an instrument, learning music for music's sake rather than becoming a rock star or a DJ or whatever, not for the external accolades, but for your own satisfaction and self-improvement. That's self-actualization. You're moving towards the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so the distribution of needs is different around the world depending on where the majority of the public is. And so that's maybe why in some of the more developed countries it's less common to see age different relationships except maybe in movie stars and billionaires and that sort of thing, where everyone's basic needs are taken care of and they're able to move on to external accolades, having a nice car and clothes and a house and all that. Then not as many of them are concerned about basic needs, taking care of their family, their parents, and that sort of thing. And so that may be why what may appear to be a motivation that seems insincere of having a nice place and being able to take care of your family, and being able to get food and warmth and all of your basic needs satisfied. Well, that may not seem as desirable to people in the West, but in the East, if you will, it's a struggle to get to that point where you're looking at the psychological needs in Maslow's hierarchy. So I think that's part of the reason you'll see more age gap relationships in the East. And but whether or not they're authentic, I don't think that's something that people can, from the outside looking at, they can have opinions about or whatever, but you'll see all kinds of age gap relationships that are where the parties are actually feel like they're, if you will, getting value from it, then it may be along all across the hierarchy of needs, where they're getting portions of the value from the relationship, whether it's honest love and you know, a good life, or if it's the opportunity to fulfill some of your ego and external drive, you know, having a nice car and clothes or whatever, and even in self-actualization. I think you'll find a distribution of that across all cultures, and a lot of it's economic, and some of it is cultural, and I think it's I don't know, but really only you're going to know whether or not your relationships feels real to you based on you know, these your own perception of whether or not you're appreciated, and whether or not you truly appreciate who you're in a relationship with. So, and that's going to be your call. So anyway, thanks for listening to this. Have a great day. As I travel around the world, I write these retired, cheap, and paradise reports. They include links to where we stayed, restaurants, cheap public markets, expensive grocery stores, transportation information, internet speeds, visa information, weather, and other information. All of this information saves time when you are doing your exploratory visits to identify your own personal paradise destination. We spend hours collecting and preparing this information, so you don't have to. Click the first link in the notes below this video to get an idea of what I'm talking about. Hey, if you liked our video, please like, comment, or subscribe. Any of that would help our business. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.